Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is my 1999 Yamaha 9.9. And although it looks like it's in pretty good condition, this thing was a salty mess at one point before I got it. And I've had it since 2019, and it's 2023 right now. The lower unit was replaced by the previous owner because apparently it rotted out, and some things like half of this handle was rotted out, and that was replaced. And I've had it out in some pretty much you're betting your life on this thing running situations. Last year it was coming back from Martha's Vineyard, where we got out and I couldn't sail because the wind was too strong and right on our nose, and swells were 3 to 4 feet in the channel. And then getting through Woods Hole and into Buzzards Bay, the waves moved to 4 to 5 feet. And sitting back here in a boat, I was just getting splashed constantly. All right. So the problem I had was water is supposed to jet out of here, and it wasn't jetting. It wasn't working very well at all. A little bit, and then it would stop and sputter, and I'm like, this is not good. I had to run it very slow, but we finally made it back. And I put in a new impeller. I put in a piece of a housing that was down there, because if you change the impeller and you crack the base of the housing where there's a gasket, then you can't replace the gasket without taking the gears out and taking the whole bottom out and taking the nut off the shaft and pulling the shaft out. It's a real pain in the butt. But that's done. I started it up thinking I had it knocked, but I don't. It was the same thing. So looking around, I found these tubes right here. Bring water in from the cylinder head. This part's the cylinder head. This is the camshaft. This runs through it and opens and closes the valves. And this part here, this is the fuel pump, and this is the valve cover gasket. It's also a place where you fill the oil. Then there's the cylinder head, and then the block is back here. This thing up here is the thermostat, and I took that out and I found some salt in there and I put a new thermostat in. Still no help there. Underneath the valve cover is recesses, dimples, lining up with this hole and this hole. And it looks like you could drill them out and maybe punch them out, which is something you could do, I guess, if you're in a pinch, and then plug it with silicone, let it harden up, and put the valve cover back on. It would be nice if these ports, instead of being at a right angle, these guys, if you could, if they were at a 45, then you could run a piece of nylon line or something in here and make sure these channels are open. But they're not, which means that in order to clean this out, I got to take the cylinder head off. This one's clogged solid. This one's pretty restricted. So that's what I'm going to do. And it's a bit of a pain in the neck to go running back with tools and whatnot to do this. So I'll give you updates along the way. First thing I'm going to do, before I do anything, if you notice up here on the camshaft gear, I don't know if you can read it, but it says number 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. And when this all goes together, 1, 2, and 3 have to be in a straight line. If you mess that up, then it's not going to run right, or there might even be interference and you might break a piston or something. So that's got to be good. And one of the first things I did when I got this motor was to put a brand new belt on. So it's only got a few hours on it. So that's it. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back, and you can see it's cracked loose, the valve cover the valve cover. The water lines are disconnected. These are also water lines in the fuel pump. Water passes through to keep the fuel pump cool, or the fuel cool, actually. The fuel lines are off. The bottom line has the filter, and the breather tubes are off. And I'm not sure what this device is. but it's some kind of recirculating valve because this is a low emissions engine. And there we go. That's the back of the valve cover. If you notice, the gasket is an O-ring type. That's apparently obsolete according to Crowley Marine. So I have to take very good care of that. I'll put this aside, and that's what the engine, the valves look like. So it's 4 valves on 2 shafts. Okay, and these recesses right here, here and here, you see them, this one and this one, you see them from an angle, these recesses. It looks like that's either a plug in there, or they could be drilled out, and once they're drilled out, you can snake them out and clear out any salt. But I'm not going to do that. I'm taking this whole head right off. And the head bolts are in here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts inside, and another 1, 2 on the side here. These are 10mm heads, and I'm not sure what they are. They could be 10s also. And I would have to look up the torque spec of those because I don't know them offhand. And it looks like the head might clear this bracket, but I might have to take that bracket off. Don't know yet. All right, I'll be back. Okay, there was 2 bolts right here, and here, and just to let you know that you can't get on them with a regular imported wrench, but you can if you had a Made in America Matco or Snap-on Mac, whatever, because they have a nice thin wall. The head bolts all came out. Oh, they're not out yet, but they all cracked loose. I'm leaving the belt on up here, and I don't want to particularly take the carburetor loose. I'd rather have this stud out, so I used a nut from here, there, one of these, and the one that came off of this stud, and I double nutted them together. And I think, am I getting it? I'm not really getting it, but I'm going to try and get this stud out. If I can't, then I have to break it here and take this manifold off the carburetor. So let's see what happens. Okay, the head bolts are out. I had 3 longs on the port side, 3 shorts on the starboard side. Everything's unbolted, and let's see if it could crack loose. Nope, I'm going to need a little more help. Okay, I needed 2 hands, but it's free now. Let's see what we got here. Pull this right out, and I'll be dipped. That port seems open. There's the plugs, the valves. Looks like a little bit of corrosion maybe on the gasket. I'm gonna have to compare it. I'm kind of happy I'm doing this, even though maybe I didn't have to do it. And look at that, the pistons run together. Now that's kind of weird. Never saw that before on a twin. One fires than the other. Any ridge down here? Nothing discernible. Alright, not the end of the world. I'm gonna clean this up, blow all the ports out, see what the hell, see why that thing wasn't clear, and I'll get back. Okay, now that I've had a chance to look at things a little bit, besides this weird thing here where the pistons run together like that, which is weird, You would think it would be very imbalanced, but there's got to be a counterweight back there someplace to make up for that, because this thing runs extremely smooth. These are the water jackets up here. You can see there's a lot of crap in them all the way around. This here is an exhaust port. These are exhaust ports, and this is water in here. I'll show you the head in a second. These are clogged solid. So this had to be done. I had to take the head off. I'm so happy I did. So this will clean up fairly easily. And then the head, well, here's the gasket, head gasket. As you can see, there's around the compression rings, there's a lot of space for water to pass through for cooling. And the old one, you can see that there's like no space. It's completely clogged up. And this head is the same way. If you look, let's see. These are the water tubes. So I got a little bit of air out of this one when I was blowing compressed air in it. Not much. And this one I got nothing. And this is supposed to be open down here like this. So I have to run a drill bit in there and clean that out. And somehow or another, water can circulate around through the entire head. Around this channel, which is clogged solid. This channel, which is pretty clogged. And this one. So, let's see. Oh, when I was taking this apart, right here in this spot, right there, which is on the head gasket right there, or on this gasket in that hole there, and this recess right there is an O-ring that doesn't come with the head gasket. So I have to go in my O-ring kit and find one. I'm sure I have one that size, so I'm not really worried. But if you're going to order a head gasket, make sure you find the O-ring part number and order that too. And that's it. Now it's cleanup time. Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up for today. The mosquitoes are getting really bad. So I was giving a little thought to this, and it's just my experiences. I don't really get to see too many twin cylinder 4-strokes like this. If it was a 2-stroke, you would want the pistons to be opposite each other. But a 4-stroke, this one fires, next time up that one, this one, that one, this one, that one, which makes sense now. So the water jackets, I cleaned a lot of salt out of here, a lot of crud. And right here in these ports, these cool along the exhaust ports. These are the exhaust, and they go in and down. And there's water jackets that run alongside, and they go up. And the bottom one was open, but the top one's not open. I can't blow air through it, or at least not much. So I took this side cover off over here, and here they are. Here's where you can clean them out. So I'm going to do this tomorrow. Clean all the crap out of here. You can see it just comes out in globs. So so there's one cover goes like this. That's the exhaust. It's got a shape to it. Oh, sorry, there it is. That's the exhaust. It's got a shape to it. And then this goes over it. And you can see that's pretty cruddy. And you know, I don't think the engine would have failed in service, but it's not good for it. And it's going to be a lot better off. I'll get a few more years out of it. A new one is like $3,500. It's probably worth it to get one, but not this year. I'll get one more go. Tomorrow I put it back together. I have to say, salt water really does a number on things. Here's the head. It's ready to go back on. I didn't file it or anything. I just cleaned it up with a razor blade and brake clean, and so it's nice and dry. But if you look right here, right there, you can see there's a big pit coming through. And you know, a couple other places on the motor I see stuff like that, and that wouldn't happen in fresh water. That's a saltwater thing. Now this gasket is got a sticky coating on it, and you shouldn't touch it or put anything on it. It's got to go on bone dry. I'm hoping this O-ring here, it fits in a recess. I'm going to try to hold it in the recess, and I'll do that right now. Let's see what happens. Okay, oh, look who's there. All right, here's the motor. This is all clean too. You can see the orange, high temperature silicone. This thing here, this is an interesting thing. The exhaust gases come through this hole, these holes, and there's a water jacket all the way around. So these two water jackets were plugged, and this plate, this first plate, covers the exhaust port, and there's water jackets around it. This one is like a labyrinth inside of water jackets. So apparently water cools the exhaust, and then this whole thing is open through here into here. So there's a port inside here and inside here, and they were both clogged. So I don't know if this thing could have let me down, but it didn't. All right, let's see if this sticks. All right, I'm gonna have to put a little high tack on there or something. But this little groove right there is where this O-ring goes, and it will go. So next time you see me, the head will be on. I'm back. It's going back together. The belt is back on. I'm leaving the thermostat out for now because I'm a little bit concerned about this high temperature gasket stuff. If it should flake off on the inside, it'll go running through the engine and out the exhaust. But if it gets stuck on the thermostat, then it could be a problem. So I'll run it for a while without the thermostat. But I'm waiting to, well, I have to go look up the torque for the head bolts. So I just put the valve cover on with 2 bolts, and this I couldn't get anything through here before, but here's these 2 ports. Here's the upper one, and the lower one. All right, next is torque the head bolts, finish putting it together, and start it up. All right, I got the specs on the bolts. If it's an M8 bolt, then the range is 18.8 on one forum, up to 20 foot-pounds on another. And it could be an M11 bolt, but an M8 bolt is 8 millimeters, and so I got my micrometer out, and I'm looking at it. It's a little bit less than 8 millimeters, which is on the charts correct. So this is an 8 millimeter bolt, M8, and I'm going to torque it down to 19 pounds, and I'll do that in a second. All right, let's see. 20 foot-pounds times 12 would give me inch-pounds. So that would be 240 inch-pounds. Well, that's what I torqued this thing down to. Let's see if I can hold this and show you. Let's see, where is it? There it is. Okay. So I used an inch-pound wrench. My torque wrench starts at 50 pounds, so it wouldn't be good for this. But this is all done. I'm putting the valve cover back on, putting the hoses on, and then I'm going to start it up. Well, that's all, folks. I think it might be good for another couple of years. We'll find out. It's a work in progress.